In this video, I wanted to show and share with you a bunch of tweaks and tricks that you can do on the new OnePlus 13. Now, the one that I have right here is the 13R, but there are basically the same exact phone as the non-R version of it. So let's just get straight into it. The first option being the option for you to share with an iPhone. So to enable this, you just go into the settings, connection and sharing, and then swipe down and you want to select, where is it? Oh, there we go, share with iPhone. Now this is one thing that you will need to enable kind of temporarily, so you just toggle it on in here and you can connect to an iPhone, send it whatever you want, and that's it. But this is, as you can see, a 10-minute timer, so once it runs out, it will turn itself off. So moving on to the next option, it's going to be the Quick Connect. Now, this option is what you probably experience already when you're on public transportation, and you'll find that you have a pop-up with option to connect to some Bluetooth device that just randomly appeared that you have never seen before. This is someone else's device, and it just allows you to quickly connect to it. Now, generally, it's a nice feature to connect to like your existing devices, but later on, once you have done so, it just kind of becomes annoying. And to quickly turn it off, you would just navigate to Quick Connect, which is also under connection and sharing. And let's see if I can quickly find this. Oh, there we go. It's right here. Now, by default, it would be turned on. I did already turn it off. So, like I said, this is what will allow you to just disable that so you don't get these pop-ups right here, allowing you to quickly connect to whatever device shows up there. Okay, so now moving on to the next thing, it's going to be the swipe down on home screen. And by default on OnePlus, you get what's called a shelf. I have it already changed. So as you can see, when you swipe down, no matter from what point, you get notification tray and toggles. This is something that I like myself, and I don't really use this shelf, but if you prefer the shelf, you can keep it as default. Now, if you want to change it, open up your settings and navigate to home screen and lock screen, and here you'll have the option swipe down on home screen. I'm gonna select that and choose it, for instance, to either shelf, global search, or obviously what I have, the notification and quick settings. So that's where you want to change this. Continuing on, next thing we'll have is the lock screen magazine. So this is the thing that you probably have enabled by default, where it just shows you a bunch of different wallpapers on your lock screen every time you press the power button. But you can actually change that and obviously also disable it altogether. So to do that, we want to navigate to, again, home screen and a lock screen and find the option called a lock screen magazine. And it's right over here. Once you have it open, you can just simply turn it off. Now, I do believe it needs internet connection to actually function correctly, hence why you didn't see any kind of magazine lock screen on my end. But typically, you would most likely have it as you, by default, usually connect to network anyway. I have not done so yet since I set up the device. So, taking a look at a little bit lower options, we have things like the carousel wallpaper settings. And like I mentioned before, you can customize them. Here we have two options, so only show customized wallpapers or show customized wallpapers and recommended. You can choose whichever one you want. And going back here, we also have preferences, which, like I mentioned, would require internet connection, hence why it's also not showing any wallpapers for me, as it's right now set by default to do it only on a Wi-Fi or mobile network too, but there is neither one connected. Now I can choose to update wallpapers over mobile data, which kind of means that this is just kind of weird option, but obviously you can change those out to fit your needs. So moving on to the next option. So the next option is going to be lock screen shortcuts. Now it's also under home screen and lock screen. And let's see how long it takes me to actually find it. Oh, it's right over here. So once you see it, you can tap on it, and this allows you to change the lock screen icons that you have at the bottom. Just to demonstrate that quickly, I am referring to these options. Now, we can actually change only one of them. I believe the photos is locked to being photos, unfortunately. But you can change the assistant. So by default, it is Google. I believe this is actually Gemini icon. So it's the newer one. But you also have the option to change it to something like device controls, flashlight, lock screen manager, QR code scanner, and not have anything there. So pick whichever one you like yourself. And keep in mind, camera will stay there no matter what. So now moving on to live captions, that's going to be the next thing that I wanted to showcase, and that is located under sound and vibration. So sound and vibration right here, and a live caption at the very top. Now again, you need internet connection for this, which I don't have, but if you were connected, you could switch it on right here. And what it does, it's basically going to listen to the content that you are listening to, and from that, it's going to generate text, even if this content that you're listening to didn't originally have any kind of text. So a quick way for you to have some kind of scripts to read from if you can't understand what, for instance, someone is saying or might be saying in a video. For instance, me. So that'll be very handy. Now, while we're in the sound and vibration, there's another thing here, which is volume controls. Now, not just typical volume controls, as you might expect. If we scroll down, you'll have the volume button function. So this is the kind of the more traditional one, where you get to choose what kind of sound you can be controlling, either the ringtone or the media, depending on which one you're using, or primarily if you're listening to music, it's going to control media. If you're not, then it's going to control ringtone. But below that, we have app-specific volume. When enabled, you can basically then control any kind of app that is open and might be playing sound and have them all at different volumes, which might be beneficial for your use case scenario. And in general, it's just a nice option to have, very similar to like what Windows has, allowing you to control each program on your computer volume individually. And one last thing in our section right here, sound and vibration, will be clear voice. Now, this option will be very handy, though it's not something that you're going to notice yourself. It's going to be something that, for instance, people that you talk will notice, as it's as easy as I can describe it, noise cancellation for calls. So what it will do is, just actually first find it, clear voice. What we'll do is cancel out noises around you. That'd be things like pedestrians, traffic, and so on. Or it will at least try to do it to its best of its ability. And this is completely separate from whatever your earbuds or whatever you're using can do. This is strictly the phone doing its best job of canceling out any kind of noise that it can detect as a noise. So very handy option for you to utilize. And by default, it's supporting phone and Meet applications. So there's actually one last thing left in sound and vibration, and that will be the O haptics, or maybe zero haptics. I'm not sure which one is it, but that is at the very end. So we have haptics and then O haptics. Now here we have a little play button, which allows you to just get a preview on how this will work and different kind of haptic sensation that it will try to do. Just kind of pressing on it quickly. So there's a bunch of different haptic things happening right here, which on video, obviously, you will not see. Additionally, another option here will be the haptic intensity. This allows you to increase or decrease how strong the haptic is. So if you want to have like this nice punchy feeling, you might want to crank it up. If you find it to be a little bit too overwhelming, you could tone it down by just reducing it halfway as the middle point. Like water's wet. What I meant to say is that halfway is basically the default option that the device comes with. Now, so you can change the options right here. And let's move on to the next option, which will be under notification and quick settings, and it will be the status bar right over here. In here, you can toggle on off a bunch of different options, which allows you to hide them from your status bar, giving you this nice, clean look to your device, if that is something that you strive for. You won't be able to toggle off everything, just be mindful. So toggle off whatever you can, whatever you want. But the more important things, like for instance, Bluetooth, I would say, or NFC, things that you might be using all the time and have enabled by default, you can toggle off from being visible in the status bar. So I'll recommend utilizing that option, as it does clean up your status bar. Now, next thing will be the smart charging options, and in general, just smart or charging of your device. So let's back out to the main settings page, and here we're going to navigate to battery right over here, and that's where we'll find a bunch of the charging features. So starting off, we have battery health, and in here you can enable the smart charging itself, which is disabled by default. This will allow you to, or the device to basically charge up to only 80%, and then keep the device at 80% till it knows that, for instance, you're going to be unplugging it soon. It will learn that from the way you use your device, and then right before it knows that you would unplug the device, typically, it will charge it up to 100, so you have a nice, fully charged device, but it isn't being kept at 100% for no reason, which is a thing that is going to extend your battery life in general, or longevity. Now, the next thing here will be your charge limit. Now, this allows you to cap the battery at 80%, so the device will not be able to charge it over that percentage, again, contributing to that battery longevity. So hopefully you won't need to change out your battery after 2 years because it's not holding a charge anymore. And you can see this option right here. That's all you need to do. Now, because this option basically is this option, but all the time, this becomes redundant and it automatically turns itself off. And the last thing here is the resume charging at 95%. Now, this probably is also kind of useless, as what it does is going to only charge your device after it drops by 5% from 100. So at 95%, it's going to then charge it up. It's a good option if you're using the smart charging first and something changed in your kind of day-to-day scenario, and you left your device plugged in for way too long. So with the first one, it would charge it to 100% and then stop. And it only would top it up again after it drops by that 5% right here. Again, charging it up to 100 and again stops charging it. So again, like I said, this would extend the battery longevity. Now, moving on to the next option, it's going to be option to hide gesture bar, which I already have hidden, but by default is actually showing. So that will be located under System and Update and System Navigation. And here you can see we'll have hide gesture bar. Now this will be turned off, and you can see this little bar right here at the bottom that just serves absolutely no purpose. So you can turn it off from view right here, and it just becomes cleaner aesthetically. So we're in a home run stretch with two last things that I want to show you, and the first one will be repair mode, which is a absolutely fantastic option. If you ever needed to repair your device, you probably already experienced that they tell you you need to delete all the data from your device. Well, not on OnePlus. OnePlus comes with the repair mode under System and Update, which allows you to just toggle it on, and what it will let you do is retain all the data that is stored on your device. You don't need to reset it to send it, but it will still give access to troubleshooting tools for the people that would be repairing it. So it allows them to do their job while not forcing you to basically fully reset your device for absolutely no reason. And if they tell you that you still need to do it, you can tell them to screw off, because it serves no purpose other than to annoy you. So I recommend checking that option out, as it's going to be one of the better things you can do, specifically when it comes down to repairing your device. Now, the last thing will be Sidebar. This very kind of hard or easy to miss option that is right here on your side. As the name would imply, you can swipe up and get this kind of bar, which contains a couple applications, which can add more to it, along with some quick access functions like screenshots, screen recordings, and files, and so on. Now, you can actually edit a couple things in it, so we're going to click on Edit, and then you want to click right here on this gear, and this will take you to the settings. And here you'll be able to either turn it on or off, and then change things like the floating bar, which allows you to change the position of it, height, size, transparency, and so on. And we also have the smart functions, which I believe actually implies these. No, never mind. Recommend actions you might want to perform. Okay, so it actually tries to learn from you. So after a little bit of a glance at it, the way it works is it's going to give you a bunch of options dependent on the application that you're using. Now, I don't know how useful that might be. That is something that I would recommend you to check out. But based on this description, it actually seems like a pretty nice option to have. And the last thing would be the file dock, which that I'm pretty sure is... Yep, the option that was visible right here at the very top. So anyway, this basically sums up all the tweaks, tricks that I wanted to show you, and if you found any of them helpful and informative and just fun in general, I would greatly appreciate it if you could hit that like button and subscribe. As a brand new channel, it would help me grow it better than with 1 subscriber I'm doing right now. So hit that button, and thanks for watching.